Oh, for the love of God. Something. It's my skin. It's the microphone. There's something wrong. Very wrong. It's Casual Friday, so I'm just taking it off. By the way, several companies like Nordstrom, etc., in Seattle have told their employees this afternoon, go ahead and take it off. Go protest if you want to. And then it rained miserably. So it's clearing up now, so get out there and protest, but don't, because we're in a pandemic. I don't know what's going on with the lighting in here. So, yeah, I may be turning into a zombie and or Antifa. So if it happens by the end of the show, sorry, I'll leave it rolling, hopefully. I won't knock things over. Hey, everybody. Okay, so let's get things going here. This is the President of the United States talking to Harris Faulkner. Oh, while I was muted, I was telling people, and you guys weren't listening because if you want to chat, the easiest way to do it is go to youtube.com/KevinLeeFather and then find the live broadcast in there. That seems to be the quickest chat or the quickest way to chat with us anyway. I'm going to get it going up here because there's even a delay between the YouTube chat and getting up on our screen over here. That chat. So you can't click that and chat in there. You have to chat either in your app on Twitter, Periscope, YouTube. We're also on Twitch. If you're on Twitch, you know how to do this. Okay, so there's the broadcast right there. Give me a second to pull it up, and I should be able to see you guys in the chat room here. Boom, there you are. Hi, Rich. Okay, yeah, you guys all talk amongst yourselves. Let's listen to Harris here.
For police protests and race relations and more. This is Outnumbered Overtime. I'm Harris Faulkner. I had the chance to meet with the president in Dallas, Texas for a wide-ranging conversation on a host of issues, including his plans for police reform and what he thinks the protesters want. I also asked him about one of his most controversial...
Spoiler, those plans will be no plans. He doesn't have any plans. He's just going to say that it's going to be super, super great. That's what he does.
Tweets and got his reaction to some fiery remarks recently from Joe Biden. We'll get to that a little bit later. First, the president weighing in on the rising tensions in the nation and where we go from here.
You know, Mr. President, with all that's happened in the last couple of weeks, I feel like we are at one of those historical moments where future generations will look back.
Literally every moment is historical. Some moments are historic. Right now, what I'm doing, historical. What you just typed in your chat window, historical.
Back, and they'll decide who we were. Are you the president to unite all of us, given everything that's happening right now?
Well, I certainly think so, and I certainly hope so. And the relationships we have are incredible. The spirit of this country, and especially considering what happened. I mean, we had out of nowhere a plague come in from China. It just came in.
Out of nowhere from China. Out of nowhere, specifically from China.
And it came to all over the world. It went all over the world. You look at it, 186 countries, and they were devastated.
188.
And we were certainly hit very hard. Some were hit harder than us, relatively, but we were hit very.
We got a plague from nowhere.
Very, very hard. And now we're making our comeback. And then on top of it, we had the riots, which were unnecessary to the extent they were. If the governors and mayors would have taken a stronger action, I think.
At least he puts it into place. It's unnecessary to the extent that they were unnecessary. Not beyond that, though. You know, riots.
The riots would have been, you could call them protesters, you could call them riots. They were different nights, different things. In Minneapolis, they went numerous nights, and then I said, you got to get the guard in there. We got the guard in there, and it all stopped.
Wait, you're watching me on TV, Stephanie? Are you, am I on Roku or something? I don't even know. I'm on like 5 or 6 I might be on YouTube on your TV. I don't know. Anyway, enough about me. Let's get back to this guy. Nobody ever talks about Trump.
They could have done that earlier. Now you look at what's going on in, I mean, you could look at a couple of places that are in such great shape, but then you look at Seattle. Look at that. What's
Seattle,
that all about? How do they allow
what
that
up?
to happen? That's just a bad philosophy. So I think it's incredible where we are and what we've done considering where we came from. We were riding high. We're the greatest economy in history. We're the greatest.
If your TV shows me, Stephanie, it's not a smart TV.
Employment numbers in history, including Black, African American. If you look at the African American numbers, were incredible, the best they've ever been. Spanish, if you look at
Just a quick point here. The African American numbers, the best they've ever been. First off, we didn't start measuring that until 1972, and it's highly likely that black unemployment was lower during the war when everybody was employed. Even women were working. Sorry, broads. Have to put it in context of the war. But even with that, black unemployment was still double Caucasian employment before COVID.
Hispanic and Asian numbers, women numbers, everybody. And then we got
Robin, he's president of the world.
hit with this plague, this horrible plague.
Hi, Giselle.
And it was
Hey,
devastating
Sherry.
from many ways, including
Hey,
the
Yusuf.
lives that were lost. That can never be regained. The economics we're going to gain. Economically, we're going to be great. Next year, we're going to have a fantastic year. I think we're going to have a fantastic third quarter. But you can never replace the lives.
I want to talk with you about where we are just in terms of
You can never replace the lives of people who've died. If they're Democrats, they keep voting by mail, but you can't replace them. It's really...
Black community, people of color.
Yeah.
You know, I hear you use the word rioter, and I
Claudia.
understand. We covered it on Fox News. I covered much of that at night as it was bursting a couple of Saturday nights ago.
Right.
The looting. And it was heartbreaking to see businesses, small businesses, which we know employ north of 66% of people in
Devastating.
America. Yeah, it was. At the same time, you had peaceful protesters,
Yeah,
and they were
sure.
hurting. And I know from your team, you watched that 8 minutes and 46 seconds
I did.
of George Floyd. And Mr. President, your response to that is different than a person of color. And I'm a mom. When he called out mom on that tape, it's a heart punch. So I'm curious from you, what do you think the protesters, not the looters and the rioters, we're intelligent enough to know the difference in our
Right,
country,
sure.
right? What do you think they want? What do you think they need
Cash,
right
Linda.
now from you?
So I think you had protesters for different reasons, and then you had protesting also because, they just didn't know. I watched it very closely. Why are you here? And they really weren't able to say, but they were there for a reason perhaps, but a lot of them really were
If you're protesting for no reason, you're not protesting.
there because they're following the crowd. A lot of them were there because what we witnessed was a terrible thing. What we saw was a terrible thing.
He's trying to say that there were people protesting and they didn't know why they were protesting. That's what he's saying. And yeah, I mean, you can go hang out with the crowd and march. That's fun. There's probably some people who are like that. And if you watch Jesse Waters, he's going to find a bunch of people like that and make them look foolish. And truth be told, they are foolish.
And we've seen it over the years. We haven't, this was one horrible example, but you've seen other terrible examples. You know that better than anybody would know it. And I know it. I've seen it.
Why does Harris Faulkner know better than anybody why there'd be horrible examples of rioting? Why specifically? Is he racist with that?
I've seen it before I was president.
What do you
and
say to
during
them?
the presidency, I've seen it. I think it's a shame. I think it's a disgrace, and it's got to stop. At the same time, you also know that we have incredible people in law enforcement, and we have to cherish them and take care of them. And we can't let something like this, where you have a bad apple, go out and destroy the image of of millions of people that take really good care of us. And then you have a movement where they say, let's not have a police department. And you say, where are these people coming from?
All right, so do you think you're perhaps closer than the nation might have ever been right now with police reform? You've got both sides talking. You've got the third most powerful person in the House, James Clyburn, saying no to defunding police. We need reform. What are you in favor
Well, that's
of?
a big step when he says no, because everyone understands that. And I don't know, is that just a phrase to break things up?
No, because he
Where
was
are
talking
they
about
coming?
some of the things that would be in a bipartisan bill. I mean, I can't put words in his mouth. I can only tell you
No,
what
I'm
he
not
said.
talking about him. I'm saying when they talk about police, when they actually talk about beyond defunding, they actually go all out, because defunding to a lot of people means break up the police forces, and either that or don't give them any money. So
So what do you
essentially
want to
they're breaking it
see?
up.
Like, what is
I want to
policing
see.
reform to you?
I want to see really compassionate but strong law enforcement, police force. but law enforcement.
Say no
and
to
I don't want to see
chokeholds?
mistakes. Yeah, I don't like chokeholds. Now, I will say this. As somebody that, you grow.
He did answer the questions. He wants to see really tough, strong, but compassionate police. Like, as they're hitting you in the face, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. Wow, this must really hurt.
Grow up and you wrestle and you fight and or you see what happens.
Okay, here's the thing. Let's be honest about this. Trump says that 99.9% of police officers are not bad apples. That it's just a few bad apples in the bunch. So let's do the math on that. I'll bring this over. Here we go. So there's 18,000 police officers in the United States times point. If it's 99, so it's going to be 001. So this is how many bad police officers there are in the United States. 18 bad police officers if we go with the 99.9% being good apples. Out of those 18 bad apples, it just so happened that George Floyd met 4 of them on the same day, and they killed him. What are the odds? What are the odds that 99.9% of police officers are great apples?
Sometimes if you're alone and you're fighting somebody who's tough and you get somebody in a chokehold, what are you going to do? Say, oh, and it's a real bad person, and you know that. And they do exist. I mean, we have some real bad people. You saw that during the last couple of weeks. You saw some very good people protesting, but you saw some bad people also. And you get somebody in a chokehold, and what are you going to do now? Let go and say, oh, let's start all over again. I'm not allowed to have you in a chokehold.
I know this one. Don't kill them.
Situation. Now, if you have 2 people,
or
and in the
4.
case that we're talking about,
Right.
you had 4 people, and 2 of them, I guess, just pretty much started.
So
it's a very tricky situation.
Somebody feel free to check my math on that. There are 18,000 police officers. I did check that, but if I'm doing the math wrong as I'm on the fly here, let me know. But again, 4 out of all the bad apples, 4 of them ended up in the same place with the same guy.
The chokehold thing is good because off the cuff it would sound like absolutely. But if you're thinking about it, then you realize maybe there is a bad fight and the officer gets somebody in a position that's a very tough position.
So you say it's a sliding scale depending on what the circumstances are.
I think you have to probably say
Do you want to be in that conversation? Are you in that conversation
I
right
really
now?
am, and I think the concept of chokehold sounds so innocent, so perfect, and then you realize if it's a one-on-one, now if it's 2-on-1, that's a little bit of a different story, depending on the toughness and strength. We're talking about toughness and strength. We are talking, there's a physical thing.
So it sounds like he's saying that one-on-one chokeholds are okay. But if it's a 2-on-1, that's a different situation, and every situation is different. So basically, no, he's not going to bar chokeholds. Plus, again, we know he doesn't do anything unless it's going to hurt Americans.
Here also. But
he just signed a rule today to take away the LGBT anti-discrimination ruling under Obama. Not ruling, but rules under Obama that you couldn't be discriminated at work, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, he just hurt the LGBTQ community today after promising them that he would take care of them because if they elected Hillary, she was going to put in people that were going to take all their rights away. And I don't know what is going on with my face. Okay, I've caught the cove, everybody. It's been nice.
But if a police officer is in a bad scuffle and he's got somebody.
Well, if it's a one-on-one fight for the life.
Yeah, and that does happen. And that does happen
But
too. So you have to be careful. With that being said, it would be, I think, a very good thing that generally speaking, it should be ended.
That's interesting. Do you want that to be a top-down federal, or should it be at the local level?
Well, it
Because
could be at
that's
the local
the question
level.
right now,
Yeah,
is
it could be at
Congress goes
local
back
level.
and forth too.
It could be local.
He's going to say both. He's going to say top-down level and both on the federal level and recommendations and da-da-da. I mean, this is the way he operates. He doesn't, it's all verbal kitty litter. Make a statement, cover it up. Cover it up with verbiage.
Local level, and in some cases it will be local level, but I think we can certainly make recommendations, and they can be very strong recommendations.
You look at me, and I'm Harris on TV,
Thank you,
but
Alex.
I'm a black woman.
Yeah.
I'm a
Olex, how many is 99.9% out of? Okay, I can do the math on that. So one bad cop in Minneapolis, and somehow we had 4. So maybe it's not 99.9%.
Mom, and and you've talked about it, but we haven't seen you come out.
Rich, I did. I got that number off of Wikipedia, so check that. Somebody find out how many law officers there are in the United States. Again, there could be 1 million. Let's take 99.9. What are the odds of 4 of them all ending up in the same place, or is it a systemic problem?
And be that consoler in this instance, and the tweets.
Sorry, let's go back on that because she's actually asking a pertinent question.
I'm a mom. Back and forth too.
It could be local level, and in some cases it will be local level, but I think we can certainly make recommendations, and they can be very strong recommendations.
You look at me, and I'm Harris on TV, but I'm a black woman. Yeah. I'm a mom.
You can be both.
And you've talked about it, but we haven't seen you come out and be that consoler in this instance. And the tweets. Yeah. When the looting starts, the shooting starts. Why those words?
So that's an expression I've heard over the years. And it
Do you know
really
where it comes from?
I think Philadelphia, the mayor of Philadelphia,
No,
from what
it comes from 1967. I was about 18 months old at the time. Everybody's shooting Wiki because they probably got it wrong. But it was from the chief of police in Miami. He was cracking down, and he meant what he said. And he said, I don't even care if it makes it look like brutality, I'm going to crack down. When the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Yeah. I know what I probably did, guys. I probably looked it up, and I saw the result for the number of police stations or police agencies or something like that. So yeah, 800,000 cops. I thought it was closer to 1 million too. So forget that whole rant. Here, I'm going to do it again, and then I'll do it another time. So somebody do the math on 800,000 cops. Thank you. That's exactly right, Linda. Okay, that's what I did. So I looked at the number of police agencies. So 99.9% of 800,000. Let's do it again. I'll do my whole rant again. And then you guys will be like, yeah, that's a good point. Okay, 800K times 0.001. I'm probably getting this wrong as well. 800 officers. Okay, let's just limit it to Minneapolis. What are the odds of 4 officers ending up in the same... Well, now it doesn't look... You guys just talk amongst yourselves. I'm so bad at righteous indignation. Here we go.
Frightened a lot of people when you tweeted that.
Well, it also comes from a very tough mayor who I might have been police commissioner at the time, but I think mayor of Philadelphia named Frank Rizzo.
Exactly, Rich. Rich has got my back. 800 officers in... Is that it? 800 officers in Minneapolis? Somebody fact check Rich now, because that sounds low. Minneapolis is bigger than that. What was I thinking with 18,000? There were no... it's a problem with the math in my head because of my uncle, Brian Williams. Let's go back on this. Sorry, guys.
At the time, everybody's shooting Wiki because they probably got it wrong. But it was from the chief of police in Miami. He was cracking down, and he meant what he said. And he said, I don't even care if it makes it look like brutality, I'm going to crack down. When the looting starts, the shooting starts. Yeah. That frightened a lot of people when you tweeted
Well, it
that.
also comes from a very tough mayor who I might have been police commissioner at the time, but I think mayor of Philadelphia named Frank Rizzo.
Rizzo? No.
And he had an expression like that. But I've heard it many times from, I think it's been used many times.
He had an expression like that. When the shooting starts, the looting starts. Oh, he had an expression like that. No, it's that expression. That's what you quoted. It was not from Rizzo. Anyway, Rizzo was... he was eventually the mayor of Philadelphia, but I think he was a police commissioner during the 60s. And he actually became mayor. He went on to political prominence because he was the guy who put snipers on the rooftops to stop riots in Philadelphia. And I think it worked. Somebody fact check that as well. But I think that was his claim to fame, is he was Mr. Tough Guy. He was the erstwhile Sheriff Arpaio. of the late 60s and 70s. But yeah, there were riots all over the place in the late 60s, 67, 68. Wikipedia me on that too. 99.9% of riots are good riot.
It means two things, very different things.
Okay,
One
going
is
back
if
here.
there's
So this is, what does it mean? The looters, if there's looting, they're shooting. There's
police commissioner at the time, but I think mayor of Philadelphia named Frank Rizzo, and he had an expression like that. But I've heard it many times from, I think it's been used many times. It means two things, very different things. One is if there's looting, there's probably going to be shooting, and that's not as a threat. That's really just a fact because that's what happens. And the other is if there's looting, there's going to be shooting. They're very different meanings.
Oh, interesting.
No,
I saw this already, and I posted it a couple of days ago, or yesterday on Twitter. Every day's like infrastructure week now. The guy with the best words, this is how he describes the ambiguity of his statement. If there's looting, there's going to be shooting. As opposed to, if there's looting, there's going to be shooting. Best words, ladies and gentlemen.
it's very different meanings, but I think
Do you think most people see it that way?
I think they see it both ways. No, I mean, I've had it viewed both ways. I think it's meant both ways, not by the same person. But when the looting starts, it oftentimes means there's going to be shooting, there's going to be death, there's going to be killing, and it's a bad thing. And it's also used as a threat. It's used both ways. But if you think about it,
and Harris should ask now, which way did you mean it?
look at what happened, how people were devastated with the looting. Look at what happened.
Your rally in Oklahoma.
They cut it. I want to know if she asked him specifically there, which would be the natural follow-up. Oh, some people mean it one way. Some people mean there's going to be shooters. Say it slightly louder so that it's different. Which way did you mean it? Did you mean it the loud way or the soft way?
Is set for June 19th. Was that on purpose?
No, but I know exactly what you're going to say.
Well,
And
I'm just
think about
asking.
it.
I've not got
Okay,
it.
so background on this.
How people
He's
were
going to have,
devastated.
shut up. He's going to have a rally in Tulsa on the 19th of June, which is Juneteenth, which I actually got this wrong the other day. My Kevin Lee daughter had to say, wait, isn't that when they freed the slaves? I thought it was the Tulsa Massacre in 1921. That I know. That was actually on Memorial Day. But yeah, Juneteenth was the emancipation of the slaves. So the June 19th is a big holiday in the black community, and Trump has decided that during his time of turmoil between the races, he is going to have his first rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where they had the massacre. Part of the country calls it the Tulsa City Riots. Part of it calls it the Tulsa City Massacre. So really, history is written by the people who bombed the black people.
With the looting, look at what happened.
Your rally in Oklahoma is set for June 19th. Was that on purpose?
No, but I know exactly what you're going to say.
Well,
And
I'm just
think about
asking.
it.
I've not got anything to say.
Think about it as a celebration. My rally's a celebration. We're going to Oklahoma, and if you think about it relative to your
What did he say in there? They keep chopping him up here. I want to see the verbal diarrhea. Show us the kitty litter. Show that this is on Fox News. They are whitewashing him. Pun intended. If he was on any other news channel, we would see all of the in-between kitty litter covering up his nonsense. But look, I mean, just look at this.
19th. Was that on purpose?
No, but I know exactly what you're going to say.
Well,
And
I'm just
think about
asking.
it.
I've not got anything to say.
Think about it as a celebration. My rally's a celebration. We're going to Oklahoma, and if you think about it,
Is it a coincidence that it's on Juneteenth? Well, my rally's a celebration. Swipe. Cut.
relative to your question, think about it as a celebration. Don't think about it as an inconvenience. Think about this as a celebration.
No.
Because this will be.
It's on the day of African American emancipation.
That's right.
It's
what I'm
the
saying
Independence
is
Day.
the fact that I'm having a rally on that day, you can really think about that very positively as a celebration, because a rally to me is a celebration. It's going to be really a celebration, and it's an interesting date. It wasn't done for that reason, but it's an interesting date, but it's a celebration.
There is so much more to get to.
And you never will, because you Cut it all out. Okay, let's move ahead here. Looks like they're going to go to commercial, and then coming up, here we go. Here's some more. Boop. See how much of the commercial I can cut out. Let's check in with you guys. The interview is a ransom note. Yes. Okay. Celebration where you have to sign a death waiver before attending. Yeah. If you have to sign a release of liability if you're going to attend any of the rallies because it says you could get COVID, which is the first time there's ever been any kind of release of liability waiver for a hoax.
Well, we are going to do lots of, I think, good things, but we also have to keep our police and our law enforcement strong. They have to do it right. They have to be trained in a proper manner. They have to do it right. Again, the sad thing is that they are very professional, but when you see an event like that with the more than 8 minutes of horror, that's 8 minutes really of horror. It's a disgrace.
Sorry. Hi, everybody. Hi.
And then people start saying, well, are all police like that? They don't know. Maybe they don't think about it that much. It doesn't
not all.
make any difference. The fact is they start saying, well, police are like that. Police aren't like that.
President Trump on what being the law and order president means to him. Just one of the topics we touched on during my exclusive sit down with him last night in Dallas, Texas. Former DNC spokesperson Mo Alithi is here to weigh in on all of this. But first, I want to talk with former White House press secretary and Fox News contributor Sarah Sanders. Sarah, it's great to see you today.
From Sarah?
Let's unpack this just a little bit because we've seen about.
Does anybody want to hear what Sarah has to say? Sarah Fuckabee Sanders. If you do, put Sarah. Just say Sarah in the chat room. Let me go to the YouTube chat so it comes in quicker. If I don't see anybody in 5 seconds, we'll just go on. There's a boo for Sarah. No, her face is mean. Not really. Okay, we're moving on, guys. Let's go find some more Trump in here. Y'all gonna make me lose his mind. Trump in here, Trump in here. Y'all gonna make me watch this fool. Trump in here, Trump in here.
Situation like Seattle.
.com. Get covered today.
Oh, hold on. We have a little bit of a riot going on in the chat room. So Stephanie, Kim, they want Sarah. Giselle, no. Are either of my producers in here or one of my executive producers? You can make the final call. Maybe we'll do it later because we've got the whole weekend. I don't think he's going to say anything the entire weekend. He's going to play golf. He's texting it in at this point. Here we go. Here's more Trump.
Can the law and order president also be the consoler in chief?
Yes, I think so. I think the law and order president can keep a situation like Seattle from ever happening. It should never happen. What happened in Seattle, what happened in Minneapolis should never happen.
You had some harsh words to say about.
Just swipe away. We know he said more there, but they're just going to swipe it away.
Seattle's mayor. Why?
Because I saw her break down. I saw her leave.
Sir, her? Isn't he the one who gets called sir?
In Seattle, what happened in Minneapolis should never happen.
You had some harsh words to say about Seattle's mayor. Why?
Because
I'm an asshole.
I saw her break down. I saw her.
Uh-oh, producer Joanna says, yeah, Sarah. So we'll do Sarah later, I promise.
Leave. I saw her have absolutely no control. And I saw her make a lot of bad decisions, including don't do anything that's going to affect anybody. Toughness sometimes is the most compassionate.
What the hell is this?
Because people are getting badly hurt. Look at what happened in Minneapolis, where they left the precinct. The city, which is a great place. I've been there many times. It's a great place.
The black police officer who was killed?
But by being compassionate, she thought she was being compassionate. Or in the case of Minneapolis, the young gentleman, the mayor.
By the way, check out my Twitter feed from this morning. I was at the Seattle Free Zone last night. It's fine. It's a street fair. There's cotton candy and free food. There's a ton of free food. There's hot dogs with cream cheese and grilled onions because that's the way we do it in Seattle. That's called a Seattle dog, is cream cheese and grilled onions. And if you haven't had it, it's fantastic.
Thought he was being compassionate. I mean, what was that all about? And look at the damage and the travesty and the small businesses and the death.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Linda. This is just a distraction from the fact that he's let 115,000 Americans die because he didn't test early, and George Floyd is dead, and it's systemic.
Look at what happened. So by being soft and weak, you end up not being compassionate. It ends up being a very dangerous situation.
More of my exclusive interview with President Trump.
Really?
I was talking with him about some of his harsh language.
Shut up. Okay, there's not a lot of Trump in this. They are really stretching this thing out. And the sad part is they don't have to. They've got more material. They've just decided to chop it. This is really ridiculous. I have to wonder. Oh my God. Okay, I'm not gonna watch myself anymore because I'm full of holes, like my theories. Here's one. Did somebody on the president's team have a hand in editing that video? There are so many chops there that, and Harris considers herself a serious journalist. She does. She's occasionally hard hitting. Apparently not in this case. She kind of broaches the edge of the crevice and then backs right up again, or goes further, but we will never see it because it's all been chopped out. This is not journalism. Oh, by the way, just take any right-winger's tweet line and look back 3 days. You're going to see them raging about something taken out of context and cut.
About the protests and whether he can be both a law and order president and a consoler. The president adamant with compassion comes toughness.
Yes, I am Kevin Lee Swiss cheese, and that's an excellent point. This is journalistic Swiss cheese. That's what this is. God, I'm hungry.
For more reaction, I'm joined by Mo Elisi, Executive Director of Institute of Politics and Public Service at Georgetown University. And he is a former DNC spokesperson, also now a Fox News contributor.
I don't
Mo,
think
good
Bill's
to see
back
you.
there, but he's at the White House.
One of the things that the president said toughness has to come about has to do with the economy.
Okay, now he's gone again. Yeah, a lot of the people that were in the White House or got hired by the White House, and then it was discovered that they, beat up prostitutes or whatever, pick a bad thing, and then they get fired, they're actually still working there. It's just the campaign is now paying them instead of the public.
Block section of the city, and they're calling it an autonomous zone.
Yes.
Watch.
I want to talk with you about revitalization in Black communities, the focus of the opportunity zones that you put into place. I think it was late 2017.
Right. Tim Scott, great
Senator Tim Scott, how does all of that fit into talking with the protesters and people right now?
Always mentions Tim Scott, who is the only Black Republican senator. Never mentions Cory Booker, who's a Democrat who co-sponsored the bill.
Wanting for the Black community, and not just Blacks, but communities of color, people who are disadvantaged in general. I mean,
people
the
with
economy
holes in
is
their
the great
face.
unifier, right?
Well, I think I've done more for the Black community than any other president. And let's take a pass on Abraham Lincoln because he did good, although it's always questionable. In other words, the end result.
Well, we are free, Mr. President.
But
you did pretty well.
You understand what I mean.
Yeah, no,
so I'm going to take a pass on Abe.
Okay, let's listen to this, and I'll explain what he's trying to say here with his verbal kitty litter. He is the worst communicator as a president that we've ever had. Every other president could at least write. This is him speaking, and this is what everybody's all on Twitter about today, is that he's saying that Lincoln freeing the slave, the end result was no good, but that's not what he's saying here. Remember, Trump is only about one thing, Trump. What makes Trump look good? So here he is.
Than any other president.
For the Black community, and not just Black.
More for the Black community than any other president. And he always goes back to, I'm more presidential than any other president, except for Honest Abe. Like, that's the guy that he holds up, and occasionally Andrew Jackson. But in this case...
But communities of color, people who are disadvantaged in general. I mean, the economy is the great unifier, right?
Well, I think I've done more for the Black community than any other president. And let's take a pass on Abraham Lincoln because he did good, although it's always questionable. In other words, the end result.
Well, we are free, Mr. President.
But
you did pretty well.
You understand what I mean.
Yeah, no,
so I'm going to take a pass on Honest Abe, as we call him.
But you say you've done more than anybody.
Well, look, criminal justice.
Okay, so here's what he's saying here. I've done more than any other president, except for maybe Honest Abe. But, you take a look at it, it's close, depending on the end result. What he's saying there is Abraham Lincoln may have freed the slaves, but I got black unemployment down to 6.1%. And there's the historical black colleges and universities, and I passed the Futures Act, which is... And I'll tell you about the Futures Act. So the Futures Act was passed in 1910. It was a 10-year act to give money to the historically black colleges and universities. And that was just automatically renewed every year. So it was due to expire last year, and it finally got renewed by Trump this year. But after the Democrats, the Republicans, bipartisanly in both the House and the Senate, coming out of the Senate, I think it was decided, like, why are we just doing this for 10 years? Let's just make it permanent until we decide to undo it. Okay, and then they gave it to Trump, and he signed it, and of course he takes full credit for giving the black universities more than they've ever had before and making it permanent. It was already a 10-year bill. It just needed to be renewed. But anyway.
Justice reform. Nobody else could have done it. I did it. I didn't get a lot of notoriety. And the fact the people I did it for then go on television and thank everybody but me. And they needed me to get it done. And I got it done. And I got 5 or 6.
Pretty sure he's talking about Van Jones.
6 Republican senators who had no interest in getting it done, and they were great. And we got it done. We did that. The historically black colleges and universities were not funded. They weren't funded. I got them funded on a long-term basis.
Again, they were funded. The Futures Act went for 10 years. It expired last year. Late last year, I don't know, September, October, whatever it was. So for a period of time, it was negotiated between the House and the Senate, and you go to conference, and you come back, and then you give it to the president, and he signs it. They were not unfunded.
And took care of it. I became friendly every year for 3 years. You know the story. They were the heads, the deans, the heads, the presidents of the university.
It's always about friendship.
Universities and colleges would come up. I got to know them. 44 or so people would come up to the Oval Office. First year was normal. I said, all right, let's do it. Second year, I said, why are you back again? Don't they? Third year, I said, why are you here? They said, because for many years, we've had to come back here every single year. One of them, great people, he said, we have to beg for money. I said, you shouldn't be begging. You should be back at your colleges or universities, and you should be teaching and doing the job. I got them long-term money, more than they had, much more than they had. And I got it permanent. They don't have to come back into Washington, D.C. I said, the only bad part is I won't see you again, maybe. It was true. I remember like 44 guys that were great people. But I took care of that. Opportunity zones, I did that.
44 guys, they were great people. But there were some women, too. All right, now I'm getting down to the nitty-gritty. I'm cranky.
Prison reform.
Were those hit in some of the writing?
Yeah, by the way, Harris, honestly, I've
those cities, those opportunity zones?
The opportunity zones where vast amounts of money are going into areas that never got money. They're investing. The people that put the money have tax advantages, or they get certain advantages, otherwise they're not going to put up their money. And it affects tremendously the employment in areas that were absolutely dead or dying.
So they should bounce back faster. Either from the pandemic or from this latest round of destruction.
They were bouncing back really well, and then we got the plague, okay? But they'll be. And we'll get this straightened out with what this is now. You can never lose. We can never gain.
I have to do more research on the opportunity zones. Basically, there's tax credits that go to putting businesses into developing zones of the United States. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. Someone earlier today sent me a New York Times article about it, and then I wavered on should I sign up or not because I'm out of articles. So I will at some point. So thank you to whomever that was. Oh my God, listen to me. I should cut myself off the air. I'm just going to cut all this in. This will be like me going like, there's 18,000 cops in the United States. Swish.
Back all of those lives that were lost. Outside of that, we're going to be in very, very strong shape. You know, we have tremendous stimulus. We have a lot of things happening.
I was going to toggle right then to...
What was that?
Former commander in Louisville, I believe, David Dorn.
Yes.
I
called his wife last night.
You talked with Anne Marie.
Yes.
You know, it didn't get a lot of coverage. We talked about it on both my shows on Fox, but his murder was streamed live on Facebook. African-American cop. These have been a really tough couple of weeks, and you have lost people of color on both sides of what I guess would be termed as a fight, although I think we're all in this together, and we've got to get to a better place.
But with Chief Dorn, so I spoke to his wife. She was devastated. Sounded just like a great woman. But did you see all the people that went to that funeral? It was incredible. So the people get it. But whatever it is, you'll have to explain this one to me. It wasn't covered. This was an African American.
All the networks covered the death of David Dorn, retired police chief who got killed, shot in St. Louis, apparently protecting a friend's shop or something along those lines. And heartbreaking story, but the networks did cover it. It happened the same night as the first couple of nights of rioting, as the riots were spreading across the country. So as it was the same night as, oh, let's go to St. Louis, oh, let's go to Los Angeles, oh, let's go to Chicago, let's go to Washington. There was a lot of news going on those nights, if you remember, and suddenly, remember, the coronavirus was suddenly kicked off the headlines. But yes, everybody covered David Dorn.
Top guy, many years on the force.
Killed by looters, streamed live on Facebook. Yeah.
And he wasn't being aggressive either. He was just...
He was defending his friend's pawn shop.
He was a very professional guy, and he was killed. And why didn't that get any airtime? And yet the people got it, because when you looked at what, I don't know if you got to see that, the lines...
Oh yeah, the visitation on one day and then the funeral the next, absolutely.
They were around the block. It was a beautiful thing to say. But no, he was a great gentleman. I just say this, if there were more toughness, you wouldn't have the kind of devastation that you had in Minneapolis and in Seattle. I mean, let's see what's going on in Seattle. But I will tell you, if they don't straighten that situation out, we're going to straighten it out.
And what do you mean by that? Like, what? I don't know if you caught it, but Governor Cuomo was so upset with Mayor de Blasio of New York, he said, I'm going to displace him. I don't really know how that would work. But, I mean, is that what you mean in Seattle?
What I mean is very simple. We're not going to let Seattle be occupied by anarchists. And I'm not calling them protesters. I'm not causing, but I got to see a performance.
Has not answered the question. It's a completely legitimate question. Looking for it. The answer is very, very simple. Whatever that answer he thinks he might have, he has none.
That I've never seen. I mean,
what are you going to do about it? I'm going to do something. Well, what's that something going to be? It's going to be something you're going to see. It's going to be tremendous. Well, what is it going to be exactly? Oh, it's going to be so good. It's going to be nothing but good. But it's also very bad. But you have to look at it as good. Well, we'll see what happens.
You think he was a weak person in Minneapolis? The woman, I don't know, has she ever done this before? How can you?
In Seattle.
Oh, it's pathetic. No, we're not going to let this happen in Seattle. If we have to go in, we're going to go in. The governor's either going to do it. Let the governor do it. He's got great National Guard troops. He can do it. But
for those of you who haven't seen what's going on in Seattle, let's see. I probably have it pulled up here. Give me a second. Yeah, I think I can make this work. Go back here. Where are you? There you are. Yeah. So here's what's going on in Seattle right now. Hold on. I'm going to bring it to you guys. Stay with me. Okay, it's not quite. There it goes. Okay, here we go. This is Seattle. I'll narrate here for you guys. This is a family fleeing the zone. Apparently, indoctrination of teenagers and children. I like this guy though. Look at what it says. It says, "Abolish the police." I don't get it.
Gooders, yes you are. Yes, you are such a gooders.
Well, hey, you know who else had German Shepherds? Look at this. The anarchists have grilled cheese, cream cheese, and grilled onions on a hot dog. Anarchy. A lot of people close together. They're closer than they look because it's on camera. It's more spread out from that, but in places it's jammed. But look at how many people are wearing masks. Just about all of them. In fact, so many that it was weird to see someone without a mask, and you're like, dude. Oh, look, they're trying to steal that basketball hoop. See? That's Antifa right there. Oh, sorry. No, they were just moving it because they didn't want to hit the car with the basketball. Free soup. Oh. Oh, yeah, they've got everybody in a jail here. What they did is if you were American and you tried to get into the zone, they had this fence, and they put everybody in this fence. And then, oh, no, wait, that was just a soccer field. No gate. Look at this. This is how neat everyone was. So a couple of things. There were people there, volunteers, with high-profile vests. What are those high-visibility vests? And they had the little picky things. I love those things. I don't have one. I don't even know what they're called. Where you have the stick, and at the end of it is the pinchers. Like when you're an old person and you're trying to get something out from behind the dryer. I love those things. There's got to be a name for them. Communism and socialism, you're both right, guys. But if you drop something, they were there to pick it up. They were all over the place. And these are all volunteers, and they're all taking care of it because, of course, they've seen how the right will attack any sort of socialist free movement that leaves a bunch of trash behind, whether it's free or not. David, I expect you see that at Snopes all the time. Yeah, so in this, and I didn't catch it on camera, but I saw someone else go up to this trash can and, like, very delicately, like trash can Jenga, put their can in the side, and the whole thing stayed perfectly. But look at that, and here's the people's. A library, a bunch of free, healthy food. They're all about capitalism, though. So someone takes the opportunity, sees a bunch of people without food, and they're like, okay, we're going to make some. Oh, hold on. We do not accept donations of any. What is this place?
Marches are very important.
Okay, there's more to this story, and I might do that. This guy's son.
Very, very important. I'm marching to the South Precinct every 3 days, demanding. You can live with the law.
That's a church right near the. It's in fine shape. There were no broken windows. In fact, a lot of the windows were covered with plywood. Sorry, guys. Let's.
One way or the other, it's going to get done. These people are not going to occupy a major portion of a great city. They're not going to do it. And they can solve that problem very easily.
Joining me now, Michael Solon, president of the Seattle Police Officers Guild. Michael, thank you for being with me. When you hear the president say that he's willing to take charge, take care of what's happening in Seattle, what's your reaction?
Hi, Harris. Thank you for having me.
Having been there, he apologized having been there on the Lafayette Square with you for the picture. The infamous picture as you walked to the church and held the Bible.
I think it was a beautiful picture.
Why do you?
And I'll tell you, I think
that
Christians think it was a beautiful picture.
But why do you think you're hearing from General Milley, from Secretary of Defense Esper, and not why you think you are, but do you think it's significant?
No, I don't think so. No, I mean, if that's the way they feel, I think that's fine. I have good relationships with the military. I've rebuilt our military. I spent $2.5 trillion, nobody else did, when we took it over from President Obama and Biden. The military was a joke. The military was depleted.
I have one last question. It has to do with Joe Biden. Did you hear what he said today?
No, I didn't.
Okay. He said that he believes that you will steal the election. And if you don't win, he thinks that military will escort you from the White House.
Look, Joe's not all there. Everybody knows it. And it's sad when you look at it and you see it. You see it for yourself. He's created his own sanctuary city in the basement of wherever he is. And he doesn't come out.
Joe comes out of the basement. He's been out there with the protesters. He's been kneeling down with them. He's been in churches. Joe Biden has been out there. Is he my favorite pick to be a candidate? No. Is he better than Trump times 30,000 million, which is a number that Trump has actually used? But yeah, just this is his attack. Well, Joe Biden has all these facts and figures that he's been stating, and, well, he's just crazy. He's a crazy man.
And certainly if I don't win, I don't win. I mean, I go on and do other things.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. That's a good point, Jeb. Who hid in the bunker? Exactly. Who's got a sanctuary basement? So even when Biden was doing interviews upstairs with the outside showing and grass and greenery, and it was all very verdant and lush, that might be redundant and repetitive. And somebody was making fun of him on Fox News because he had a gardener or somebody in the background. It's like, yeah. And then at the same time saying that it was Chris Wallace was saying he's in his basement. He's stuck in his basement. He hasn't left his basement. Hillary's email server was in the basement. The impeachment hearings were in the skiff in the basement bunker at the White House. Why are Republicans so afraid of basements? Like, that's a childhood fear that you should get over at some point. And maybe that's the difference between a Republican brain and a liberal brain that I've been looking for all this time. Maybe never getting over your childhood fears. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Just a theory. Full of Swiss cheese holes like me. The one time I say it, there's no hole. Ah, there we go. Look at all this. This is working out great, everybody.
Things I think would be.
Pizzagate was, thank you, David. Pizzagate was Hillary Clinton and a cabal. By the way, someday I want to be important enough to have a cabal. And a cabal of child molesters who were dealing children in the sex trade out of the basement of a Washington, D.C. pizza restaurant called The Comet, I think, where apparently they've got pinball. And a guy went in there with a gun demanding to free the children from this basement. It has no basement. But it didn't stop the conspiracy theories, and they're still out there today. Hashtag Pizzagate. Go look it up. It's out there. Not as bad as Obamagate, though.
Be a very sad thing for our country.
Johnny.
That's it.
We're sitting in the basement of wherever he is, and he doesn't come out. And certainly if I don't win, I don't win. I mean, I go on and do other things. I think it would be a very sad thing for our country.
I've got all kinds of ideas what you can do. That might be it for the interview. Now they're just going to do some analysis and commercials. Yeah, that's it, guys. I don't know if they have skee ball. I mean, we could find out, but has anyone been to Comet Pizza? We can finish this up by talking about Comet Pizza. Hi, Marcy. How are you? The fear of basements might go back to the April 1945. That basement did not turn out well. No, it did not. But as I was talking with David about earlier, Trump went down to inspect the bunker 2.5 times because he was absolutely convinced. He's like, there's no way that Obama wouldn't leave any snacks. And then he had to go back down again. No, there must be snacks. No, open that cupboard. Open that cupboard. The cupboards are bare. What a day, guys. What a day. This has been, I think, the worst 2 infrastructure weeks that we've had. All things being unequal, especially race relationships and income. Can we go back to Sarah? Guys, I just want to be done. Can we go back to Sarah? Yeah. Wow. God, I'm full of holes. Okay. Obama left broken snacks. And the wrong kind of snacks. Nothing but Nilla wafers. Nobody likes a Nilla wafer. Let's go back to Sarah, see what Sarah says. This is for Rich. This is for all my patrons in the house. What up? Okay, Rich. Oh, wait, that's more Trump? I'll find. There she is. Okay, coming at you, Sarah Fuckabee Sanders. I'll hit play, too, just for you, Rich.
Interview. We'll watch the rest throughout the show. Law and order, the president making it clear what that means. How does that resonate, do you think, with his base and with a wider range of voters across America?
Well, I think it should resonate with everyone in a positive way. I think the point the president is making, and I've heard him do it many times before, is that as a country we must have law and order. But that doesn't mean we don't also have compassion. I don't think that there is a single person that I know or in this country that wasn't appalled by what happened to George Floyd, including the president. That should never happen in this country. And I think the president made that very clear, but that doesn't mean that every police officer in the country acts that way or is a bad person or a bad officer. In fact,
is there anyone out there who thinks that every police officer is killing people? Is that what we're saying? Is there anyone out there saying that?
Most police officers in this country are doing the
Dr. Rich, Yusuf, do you think all police officers are killing people?
best they can to protect the most vulnerable people in our society. And we must have law and order in order to continue to be a country without chaos and without anarchy. And I think that's the point the president was making. And it's, again, one I've heard him make many times before.
One of the things that the president said as we were showing our audience this entire interview is now being picked up on wire services.
As we were showing this audience this entire interview, they did not show the entire interview. That was Swiss cheese journalism.
Reuters is saying,
trademark,
quoting the president for saying chokeholds might be needed in some one-on-one situations. The president says it would be a very good thing generally to end police chokeholds, could be local level decision. That's all from our interview just moments ago. Your reaction on how you might think that this would play out in a wider public, this idea that, you know, maybe in some instances you would have it?
I think that the bigger topic here and the main thing that we need...
Okay, this is what Sarah does. What do you think about the chokeholds, and should it be a local issue, and how do you see that playing out? Okay, I think the bigger issue, and then she's just going to go off on whatever talking point she wants to go off on.
To be focused on is reform. I think we need to be looking at ways that we close the racial divide in this
Let's get specific. Okay, but what about generalities?
Country. I think that what has happened has been horrific, but we are now having that conversation.
No, you can dominate compassionately, Jeb. I pay $150 every Tuesday night for something like that, but I don't want to get into it right now. I
think it's an important one to have. You have the leader of the free world engaged in it and looking at ways
Sorry, I've been watching Billions and
that we can do better. The most important thing we can do at this point and moving forward is to make sure that we don't repeat the mistakes of the past, but that we come together as a country and we do better, because that's who we are as Americans.
Part of that $150 is that we come together as a country, as a country.
And that's what we have to stay focused on, is how we close that racial divide and how we make things better for the next generation and the next generation after that.
Sarah Sanders, you were in the room with me the first time I interviewed the president. You were White House press secretary at the time. The president is facing a much different situation now. I was asked this morning on Fox and Friends, behind the scenes question, what was his sort of, not attitude, but point of...
Do fish have... There's so many fish, there's got to be fish with hair, Lizzie. Sorry, for those of you who can't really see the chat, Lizzie just said, but Heavenly Father, there's a bigger issue. Do fish have hair? And I think that's really what we need to focus on. Finn.
How is he doing? He seemed the same to me. He's very...
But apt point there, Lizzie. She's always throwing in a red herring.
Very focused. He's upbeat, got a lot of energy, but is really honing in on what he needs to do next. What are your impressions of how the president is doing right now?
Look, right now our country is at a pivotal moment. We have had unprecedented challenges face us.
Complete side note, does anybody else say pivotable? Because I do. I can't help it sometimes. It just comes out pivotable. And guess who else says it? Trump.
Through the COVID crisis that have been going on for the last couple of months. One thing that I know...
I think the bigger issue is the pizza restaurant, David, and whether or not you can get Swiss cheese on a pizza.
is clear is at the end of this, one of the most important things to do in bringing the country together is to have a strong economy, to create opportunity for every American, to make sure every boy and girl across this country has the same opportunities. And you have to help do that through having a strong economy. No one is better suited to do that than someone who has done it before and knows how to do that. And I think that's Donald Trump. He's proven he can do it. And
all humans breathe, but all humans don't have scales. Some do. Mine is not my friend lately. You know why? Pizza.
I know he can do it again. I don't think that there are a lot of Americans that honestly can say they think Joe Biden can help rebuild the economy. I do think that's an important cornerstone of what we're going to need as we come out of the COVID crisis.
Literally what Joe Biden did for 8 years, help rebuild the economy. Help rebuild, because he was the vice president under a black guy. Helped the black guy rebuild the economy. But for some reason, not the right guy for this job.
And as we put the country back together and bring the country back together, that's going to be important, and I think Donald Trump can help us get there.
Sarah Sanders, thank you for being with me. Good to see you.
Okay, that's the end of Sarah. I wish I could see the names that you guys all see, because they come into the chat room and you guys sometimes have different names than you see on your own platforms. So I don't know who Asiago is, unless you're saying Asiago cheese, in which case, yes, that is definitely a winner in the cheese. Best cheese overall? Maybe Havarti. I don't know. Anybody? Let's finish up with that. Let's go to something that isn't Trump related. So that's it for Trump. As far as the meeting in Dallas yesterday, it was just the only reason he went to Dallas. This was supposed to be an official visit, and it was tagged as such. He went to the church and gave that little round table talk with community leaders. He did that so that the taxpayers would be paying for this trip, not the Trump campaign, because the trip was really about him having a fundraiser where he probably took in about $10 million last night with a bunch of rich people in Dallas. So I did, as I was going about my business yesterday, I did listen to quite a bit of that. It was just one speaker after the other, including, check my Twitter timeline, including a speaker who was a hydrox evangelist, touting and thanking the president profusely for letting people know about hydroxychloroquine, and it turns out that he killed a patient. But anyway, you can look down my Twitter timeline and find out about that guy. Robin Armstrong, Dr. Robin Armstrong, I think is his name. And then I also put in there a link to a review of his old folks home that he's in charge of. And they get failing grades all the time. It's like D, F. If you went to this old folks home and it was like a restaurant where it was like a sad face or a grade on the outside, you'd be like, we're not eating here, Grandma. Oh, and he also didn't ask permission from any of the families to use the hydroxychloroquine on the patients. So, okay, blue cheese. Yusuf, you're done. I'm blocking Yusuf. Blue cheese. Yusuf, listen carefully here. When cheese goes bad, it goes blue. That's God's way of saying, don't eat this. Blue cheese. Havarti from Lizzie. Okay, yeah, another vote for Havarti up top there. Let's see if I can rewind this, because this is the important stuff. Smoked Havarti. I was going to say smoked Havarti mumbo jumbo. Here's the thing, though. I don't know if smoked Havarti is really a thing or if it's just artificially injected flavor. A lot of times the smoked stuff is artificially. Like, if there's real smoked Havarti, like there can be real smoked Gouda, yes. Anything smoked. Oh. Okay, going down. I just put a pizza in the oven and I blame you. Marcy, I'll be over by 6. Havarti. Let's see. We'll have a cheese off. You can sponsor that, David. We'll have a cheese off one of these days and determine the best cheese. We'll have like the Billy Joel Madness. We'll just do a cheese madness. We'll start with 64 cheeses. Has anyone done that? Somebody look that up. We'll start with 32, or I'm sure there's 64 cheeses, but there's a whole bunch out there, like Camembert, et cetera, Stilton, cheeses that are out there that, no, they'll make the top 64, but, I mean, France has 3,000 cheeses just by itself. And then what's going to happen is we're going to get down to the final 4 of cheeses, and like at Kroger one day, I'm going to be walking through and they'll be like, would you like a sample of brioshka? And I'd be like, brioshka? What is that? Well, it's Korean cheese that they use with kimchi. And oh my God, this should have been in the cheese off. I've been cheesed off since Trump was elected. Chamomile? It is alive. Yeah, maybe we'll do a cheese off, guys. Cheese madness. Cream cheese. Oh, cream cheese on a hot dog. I withdraw Havarti, and I'm going to say cream cheese when you combine it with grilled onions. And a new country. Under this lockdown, perfect ciabatta bread goes good with Havarti. Everything goes good with Havarti. I don't know why we don't use more Havarti. Cojita cheese, delicious on nachos. It's magic. Hi from Yosef. I'm assuming you're laughing, Yosef. I don't know. Maybe you're having some sort of seizure. I hope not. Going back to Swiss cheese theories, I also have this theory that Trump had a seizure last year. It's cornball. God, we're hungry, aren't we? But there's a lot of things. The way he's holding his arms, the way he's shaking from time to time, the way his speech is slurring. I'd have to go back. The way his accent is coming out, as someone pointed out earlier. Good point out, by the way. So I do read a lot of your comments, but when things are going on, I can't interrupt the flow or cry. But I do read more of your comments than I have a chance to comment on, and I appreciate it, everybody. If you'd like to help contribute to this, I know there's a lot of you watching out there that don't chat during the room as well. You're welcome to go to kevinleefather.com and contribute to my cheese fund. It's Patreon, and there you can contribute $1, $5, a 10-pack of American Sliced, which isn't real cheese, but is fantastic. Really, come on. On a burger, nothing better than American. You're more than welcome to do that. I know I'm being cheesy about that, but please go to kevinleefather.com and contribute. It helps the money keep flowing. Well, I'm waiting for unemployment to come in. March 12th, April, May, June. Is it June 12th? It's June. 4 months now since I worked. 4 months, still don't have unemployment. So this system's working out great. Jesus, take the wheel. Jesus Christ, David, that was bad. We have horrible participants today. Gouda is really Gouda. Oh, okay, you guys are getting into the cheese puns. All right. I've had no Shasta Cola left. By the way, David, I bought this for you, and you didn't drink it, so now I'm having to drink it. She isn't the worst. Noib is calling someone a looser. I don't know if that's an insult or... This dude is a hair splitter. No, I haven't had a haircut, and that's why. It's because I'm doing the safe thing. No wonder there's only 9 people in here. There's actually quite a few people in here, Noob, Noib, because I'm broadcasting on 4 different platforms. But yeah, okay. All right. I mean, if there were like 2 people in here, I'd be having a good time. But yeah. Big deposit on this? I don't think in Washington they do the deposit thing. I think you just put it in a recycle bin and they take it away and you don't get any money for it. You pay to recycle it here. So I should probably hang on to it until I'm in a high deposit state. Yeah, the fake cheese grade for the grilled cheese sandwich too. Oh, it is mumbo jumbo. American on a grilled cheese. Yeah. You know what else is really good? And I understand all of my patrons can go ahead and take the money off. But as always, I promise you nothing but brutal honesty. And go ahead, block me. Block me after this. Tweet about me. Shame me. Call me out. Take a video of me and put it up there and say, Twitter, do your thing. Out me. Dox me. Squeezed cheese is delicious. Cheese in a can on a chicken and the biscuit cracker? Fucking awesome. There. I said it. It's been nice. Thank you very much, everybody, for spending your time with me. I understand. I wish you well. 10 cents an organ. Is that worth the gas to drive down there? Quickly does the math. 99.9% times 18,000. All right, guys. Hey, it's the weekend, everybody. TGI, whatever day we have anymore. I don't keep track. Kevin, Lisa, and I are going to go play some tennis. We might go down to the new Seattle zone and get ourselves a hot dog now that we've been talking about. I think I am. I think I'm going to go back down there with my Antifa card and get another Seattle dog. Anyway, I am desperate for cheese. I am right now. I do. Oh, you know what I had? This is serious, guys. I know some of you are vegetarian, some of you are vegan. Hold on just a second because I want to make sure I get it right. I'm going to show you guys. I don't want to get the brand wrong. Stay here. I don't know why I still have my headphones on. I didn't need them on. We've got pause on there. Okay, so this right here. Let's get rid of these guys. I don't even care. Wait, what if I do this? What if I do this? Boom. Okay, there. Okay. Oh, God. Start. Okay, let's see if we can see that. Come on, camera. Okay, these Daya American slices, these are vegan. They're gluten-free, and they're fantastic. They melt. They actually melt. Some of the Daya cheese, not so great. As many of you know, Kevin Lee's daughter is a vegan and she's gluten-free and everything. So she can eat this Daya stuff. But put this on a burger and let it melt over the burger for, if you're using a New Wave oven, which it's gimmicky, but it's great, about a minute, and a microwave about 30, 40 seconds. And it's fantastic. So highly recommend. David, if I started talking about Velveeta, nobody will talk to me ever again. But yes, I do have Velveeta mac and cheese in the cupboard. And I don't even think it's Kraft. I think it's just the store brand. Winco Velveeta mac and cheese. Any cheese is good with me, unless it's blue. Again, Yusuf, if it's gone bad, it goes blue. That's how we know. Pimento cheese is all right. That comes from South Carolina, I understand. It's the pimento state. Thank you. I used to, there's a story about that doctor, but I'm not even going to get into it. 38 cents, not 38 special. Wait, is Chris in here? I don't even think that, Chris is in here. He's our generous donor. Well, it's different. You guys actually contribute money. He gives a grant, so it's just a tax write-off for him with the 38 cents. Essentially, to Chris, we're a tax shelter, so that's fine. We'll take the advantage of it. Oh God, yeah, Tillamook. Rich, do you even get Tillamook in LA? That's one of the. If it's Tillamook brand, I'll buy everything generic. I don't care. Costco brand, Dairy Gold, Safeway, whatever the thing is. But if it's cheese and there's an option of Tillamook, yes please. Tillamook light sour cream as well. That's it. None of the other light sour creams. No, thank you. Tillamook is the gold standard. And years ago when I was a kids host, we did segments at the Tillamook factory, not the cheese factory, unfortunately, but some kind of dairy factory and stuff. So with the sour cream and was it ice cream? They had all kinds of stuff there. And even then I knew that, for example, we'd go to factories and I'd see the chili coming out at a specific brand of chili. And then you see it going right into the Albertsons cans and right into the safe, like exactly the same stuff. So you know all that stuff is exactly the same stuff. But when it comes to Tillamook, I'm not going to take that chance. I'm not going to buy the store brand sour cream knowing that it might not be the Tillamook. This is so far off base. I was like, you know what I got to do? I got to really polish a live stream with like an opener and the credits and just get really hammer it and have all the say. And then I like cry and talk about cheese. Because there's like serious people watching. I don't know if any of them are watching right now, but if you're watching, I can be better than this. I really can. Should wear a suit and tie. Which nobody's doing anymore. If you notice, even the late night hosts are not wearing suits and ties anymore. So it's all at home. This is okay. We're casual. And maybe, hopefully, when we go back to the studios, they don't feel obliged to put suits back on and stuff. Because I always looked at like Trevor Noah. Why are you wearing Jon Stewart? Why are you wearing a suit? What's the point of that? Tie. Nobody likes a tie. That's why they have overtime. Oh, look at Yusuf. Look at Yusuf. Cheddar, Croton de Chavignon. I don't even know a Manteleur. Menteleur? You're overseas, right? You're in Denmark, Yusuf? Fontina, Gruyere. Oh God, mac and cheese with Gruyere, Manchego or Parmesan, del halfaste il faste provolone, del halfaste osta Gouda, Oug, or I was going to say or. Are you saying Oug or? Pour salut. Okay, it's gone now. Anyway, yeah, you're all making me very hungry. I gotta go get cream cheese, but first, I gotta reward myself with some tennis. Okay, that's enough, guys. You're just going to keep me talking about cheese, and it just goes downhill from there. So, guys, if you don't see me this weekend, have a great weekend. You will see me anyway. I think we have, what do we have? I think I have a KK macaroni. Speaking of cheese, from yesterday or the day before, she was on Fox News, and I never got a chance to take a look at that, but I know I have it. So I might look at that over the weekend, or I might just take the weekend off. I still have to put my sound booth together here. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And I'm having a crisis of conscience. So we'll get to all of that. Dang, I smell another fire. It's been bad. I don't know what that's in reference to, Stephanie, but I hope everything's okay. Stephanie, where's my logo? Come on, let's get Stephanie Daughter on that. I'm kidding. She doesn't have to do anything. I'll come up with something. But you know what I was thinking for the logo? This is, everyone's like, what's it like being with Kevin? This is just a nonstop stream of consciousness. Even when I'm unconscious, when I'm sleeping, I'll talk like this. So I want to make a logo where, because it's Kevinly Father, have like clouds on it, and then Kevinly Father with like a halo around the K or something. Anyway, those are just ideas to relate to Stephanie Daughter. She is, by the way, she's a graphic designer, everybody, and Steph has offered her services to design my logo. But if anybody else wants to give a shot at designing my logo, I'm like, what the hell, have at it. I don't even know why I need a logo. Oh, t-shirts, that's why. And I think we're just like 4 or 5 people away from me ordering t-shirts. So once I get 10 people who, in Patreon, go to kevinlyfather.com to contribute, 10 people at whatever level it is that get t-shirts, then I'll order some t-shirts and get everybody some t-shirts. And then you can also buy t-shirts. And I'll wear a t-shirt because I don't want to wear a suit and tie. Oh, what a great personality, KF. You forgot the C. Kentucky Fried Chicken. Great personality. Honestly, what percentage of people do you think, if you had to name a percentage, what percentage of people would you spend an hour with versus eating Kentucky Fried Chicken? I'm going to say it's kind of high. I'm going to say it's, if I had to spend an hour with 65% of people, I would rather eat Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm so hungry, guys. And I had a burger. I had a burger with the Daya. This program brought to you by Daya American Slices. Daya. It's almost cheese. Oh, Chris is here? Okay. Hey, everybody. We were just talking about you, Chris. You're going to have to rewind. It might have been right at the very beginning. You're going to watch the whole thing. You're going to have to. You can't do KFC. Why not, Chris? This is the last thing we're going to talk about. I want to know why Chris Wilson refuses to do KFC. It's because you hate Kentucky, Chris? Why KFCK? Yeah, I like that nickname. Oh, what somebody, let's see, JC came up with a nickname. I should find out what that is. Went to KFC. JC, 38 Special is here. Oh, for Chris. Okay, so Chris is 38 Special. Oh, yeah, if you're vegetarian, Kentucky Fried Chicken doesn't work out so well. I totally understand that. No comparison, hashtag KFC, like all the way, 100%. You'd rather eat KFC than 100% of the people, doctor? I get that. I get that, too. Okay, Producer Debbie's here. I love KFC, but it's 50 miles to the closest. Oh, my God. Debbie, you know what that means. Move. Claudia Catalina. Oh, you guys are just doing that to each other. Too high in fat for the pancreatitis. Yeah, maybe it's time to consider losing the pancreatitis. Or pancakes. Colonel Sanders was a Confederate. I don't know that Colonel Sanders actually existed. David, we'll talk about that next time with you, because if anybody's going to know, it's David with Snopes. Guys, it's been fun now that I know that Chris Wilson cannot eat Kentucky Fried Chicken because he's a unionist, Yankee swab. I know there's a slur for Yankees. I didn't want to swear on the air because I never do that. Okay, guys, fuck it. That's the end of it. I'm going to show you guys the credits. They're fairly updated. I think I have another patron since I did them yesterday. So I will get you in there. And if you've become a patron during this broadcast, welcome. And if you'd like to become a patron right now, you're my favorite. Go to kevinleefather.com. It's just $78 per episode. Let's see if somebody believes that. Yankee swab. Yeah, we were talking about swabs. All right, Yusuf, have yourself a great weekend. Producer Debbie, great to see you. Lizzie Dog, good as always. Dr. Howard, welcome, and we hope to see you again. Everybody else in here, Chris, enjoy your KFC, and here are some credits. Special in the house.